A.C.E.S Junkyard Podcast, redefining role warfare one puck drop at a time.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Armored Combat Escalation Service Podcast, episode 41, your number one voted MWO and Battletech podcast this side of the Inner Sphere. Today is May 12th, 2016. I'm your host Brandon, also known as Cattra Kell, and with me today is Tierkron. How's it going?
Pretty good.
And Larsh. How's it going?
Hey, it's going alright.
So, last week I know I said we'd probably be waiting 2 weeks unless something big happened, and I guess something big did happen. So, with that being said, we had the the roadmap for the next couple months released.
Which, I have to call shenanigans on something. If you look at the post date on the forums, it says April 29th, 2016, and yet it was not up on April 29th, 2016, and it wasn't up during the first week of May. I didn't see it get posted up until earlier this week, so I don't know what that post date is, but it's wrong. I'm calling shenanigans on Russ there. He's backdating his forum posts.
Because that is the date of the last town hall, I believe, right?
Yes.
I would say that it was probably partially written or something like that, probably posted. I can tell you that there are a secret part of the forums. It was probably posted there, and then they probably just posted it into news.
Yeah, or could have been hidden too from view.
Yeah. And then as more stuff was added, like they probably just had like a skeleton frame and then just added it, like added whatever. You know what I mean.
So don't believe that post date. That's shenanigans. Invisible evil shenanigans.
I like how that's the thing you're the most upset about.
Yes.
Amongst everything else in the post.
Oh, we'll get to that in time.
So, might as well hop right into it. May. The May roadmap, I think this is for the next 3 months, May, June, July, if I recall.
Yes.
So,
and it might get flushed out more as we proceed into June. May, from what Russ's Twitter feed has been, is, and what we know from the town hall, it's going to be a rather light month. So we're not expecting a lot of these things, a lot of big things for May.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just small tweaks for the first part and then bigger stuff for later.
Yeah.
So, for May, May 17th is the patch, which we all know is the big thing because of the Kodiak, which is only a couple days away now. And we've all talked about the Kodiak, stuff like that. The next thing coming in May is spectator tools. Apparently things are getting improved with, of course, the World Championship upcoming, so people can broadcast better, etc., etc. Somehow they're improving the chat system. They're doing a Mech Academy update, and the big one being changes to long tom artillery airstrike behavior, which I think hopefully it will be a big improvement. And then of course other general items. So the roadmap for May is looking pretty alright, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, there really are no surprises coming in May with this roadmap being released. It's basically everything that we were told about in the town hall. As you said, we've talked about the Kodiak before. They've got their little countdown to Kodiak up on the site, and it's looking good, exactly what we were expecting. Uh, Everything else is just there like it's supposed to be. So I don't see anything really, to complain or to debate about. It's just there. It's what we were expecting.
Yeah, and also at the very, very bottom too for the May update is what I'm looking at right here too. Is something kind of interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong as well, but is there going to be a different way to to unequip and re-equip items from the mechs now?
It seems like it's very vague in how it's worded, so I'd probably just more or less wait and see with the patch notes rather than kind of make a statement on it. But yes, it seems to be they seem to be saying a new way to move modules around.
Yeah, it's basically that you can move a module from one slot to the other without having to unequip the module and then re-equip it. You can, so if you don't want that particular module being first, you can move it down to the second slot or to the third slot, depending on what mech you're in and what level you have it. So it's nothing, groundbreaking really. I don't really see the point because there's, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing there that really changes it for a mech by having one module equipped first instead of another. There, so long as the module's equipped, it has the same effect.
Yeah, module like ranking order when you equip them doesn't seem to have much of a impact, or at least from my understanding, doesn't have an impact, and it shouldn't. As long as it's equipped, you should still get the bonuses. I would much rather than say have this added, just have a strip all modules button, so you don't have to go hunting through mechs to look for them. I guess this would make a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. So, moving on to June.
June, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. June 21st is the patch. The patch day, of course, we get the Phoenix Hawk, which, again, we've also talked about. This is when the mech rescale comes in, which is finally about time. It's great to see, because with the mech rescale, I believe we're getting perhaps a requirkening.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, of course, with certain mechs getting bigger, certain mechs getting smaller, quirks are going to have to change because that will impact their performance, which is good.
And
we also get the... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
And regarding the mech scaling, like any major change, such as the implementation of Phase 3 or the implementation of quirks, I fully expect there to be a number of hot fixes after this gets patched in, because it's doubtful that it's going to be 100% perfect from the get-go as soon as you patch on that Tuesday. More likely than not, there's going to be a couple hot fixes that come in to adjust things here and there, tweak things as the community gets their hands on it and plays with it and goes, oh, this thing's clipping through this, or the hitbox on this is a little wonky now, or if quirks are changed immediately with this with the rescaling, which I'm not sure if they're actually going to do it right when the rescaling occurs, or if they're going to requirk after that particular patch. They haven't really specified. They just said that the existing quirks are going to be reevaluated based on the resizes, so I assume that the quirks are going to be redone at a later date. after the rescaling, but more likely than not, there are going to be a number of hot fixes after the rescaling gets implemented. So it's no one needs to be lighting up the forums after the rescale occurs, going, "Oh my God, this is terrible! Everything's gone to shit." Just be patient. It'll probably be a hot fix by Thursday, and probably in in the following week that'll change a couple things and smooth things out, and it's the nature of the beast.
And of course, we have the new Frozen City map as well, which is the fourth, I believe, entire reconstruction map. Yeah. And again, I still have mixed feelings on New Frozen City, because Frozen City, in my opinion, is probably one of the better maps in MWO right now. Both day and night, and I kind of hope they do like they did with when they remade I'm blanking right now.
River City, Forest Colony.
The last one.
Forest Colony.
No, the new one.
Polar Highlands.
Yes, but they still kept Alpine Peaks in rotation.
Yeah. Well, that's because Polar Highlands isn't a replacement of Alpine Peaks. The new Frozen City is a replacement for Frozen City and Frozen City Night.
Yes. But again, I still kind of want Frozen City left in rotation. Or at least one. They don't need to have like Frozen City and Frozen City Night, but it would still be nice to have one or the other left in the rotation. Depending on how different the new Frozen City is. That being said.
I would say I want to see a preview of what the new map looks like before jumping on either side of, just scrap it all and go with the new one, or keep at least one of the old ones in rotation.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be like how they made the new River City, how they just are probably going to expand it into a larger map. Don't know how it's going to be, but right now it's nice because it's small enough and there's plenty of cover and variety. I'm a little concerned that they're going to make it too big and then just take away all the flavor that's already there.
Well, I don't think that they need to expand on Frozen City. I think what they need to do is change some of the, for lack of a better term, attack lanes on it. The tunnel is rarely used because of the way it's situated on the map. Jenner Alley and the cliffside, that lower area doesn't really get utilized a lot because of the inaccessibility of it at times. Predominantly fights on Frozen City either take place in the lower city area or on the dropship ridge area. There's really not a lot of variety between the two. Occasionally you get run and gun fights across the map, but not often. So I think if they're making changes to it, and I think the best thing they can do is just shake up the attack lanes a bit on it. It's something that they really didn't do on any of the other remade maps. River City, pretty much the fights all occur in the same areas now as they did on the original map. The Caustic Valley pretty much is the same as it was originally, and Forest Colony, predominantly all the fights still take place around that arch area, and sometimes out in the water, but really just around the arch. So when you're remaking a map, I think you need to shake it up a little bit and break people out of their comfort zone. And with Frozen City, they have the opportunity to do that by shifting around some of the terrain and the geometry of the map fully, not just simply expanding the size and giving it a palette update.
I mean, I'm really hoping you're right on that, but I'm just kind of thinking of the idea and mindset that the newer maps that have been made or been redone lately have been a larger, expanded size, and for me, I'm just thinking that the new Frozen City might go down that same path where you might have a very large area of like nothing, and then we're all just going to congregate in the middle again.
Yeah, so I'll go back to what we were talking about earlier of, really it's going to, opinions on it are going to have to wait until we get something of a preview of what this new map is going to look like. Once we get an actual look at it, then we'll be able to say, okay, yeah, this isn't really that much of an improvement, or yeah, this could change things up dramatically on the map. So, it's one of those wait and see things.
Yeah.
Be nice, like, a week before, if they do like a flyover video and throw it up either on their own or NGNG or something like that, so people can kind of get a preview of what to expect.
They tend to do that. They tend to put out teaser stuff about a week before the patch, both for, as we've seen, both for the new released mechs as well as for maps. They tend to start teasing things out anywhere from a week to 2 weeks out.
And then, of course, we have another feature that I'm actually highly excited for, which is now the command wheel.
Yes.
Something a lot of people have been asking for a while, but just seems to have been, like a lot of things, getting pushed back for more and more. But it's finally got a date, finally. Yeah. And it's hopefully good.
I think the impact of the command wheel is really going to depend on the team that you're placed with. Teams that don't listen to in-game VoIP, the command wheel is not going to mean diddly squat to them. If they can't listen to someone actually talking to them, they're not going to listen to in-game, little commands coming up on the screen or little help signs or anything like that, or flashing indicators. They're going to do what they're going to do. For organized teams, I don't know if command wheel is really going to do anything for them either, because they pretty much use TeamSpeak. If they don't use TeamSpeak, they use in-game VoIP, so I don't see it, as being a big impact for them. It's something that, yes, we've been wanting for a long while, but it's going to be a very situational thing, and I'm kind of hoping that they do put in something in the settings where you can turn off indicators for it, because I can easily see, just like with in-game VoIP, someone spamming, the help function, or the command function, or whatever ends up being utilized with it, just like they do with the VoIP in the battle grid. So
it also depends on how, because the one that I'm probably, if the command wheel functions ideally, the one that you would probably see a lot of people using is that it says there that people that are scouting can indicate spotted mechs, or spotted enemies, I should say. So depending on how it highlights it or indicates it, you could probably see a lot of teams using that just to mark targets.
Yeah, I could see that, especially for people that they don't know grids very well. It's even veteran players that I've talked to, they forget how to call grid spaces on maps. Some people are very religious about it and know the maps and the grid squares like the back of their hand. Other people, they'll call a grid square and it's either one or two squares off, or it's a square that's in the opposite direction, because they're not looking at their mini map correctly. They're thinking it's H5 when it's actually H4, or it's I5 instead of H5. So yeah, the spotting functionality could probably be the best thing to come out of it.
And of course, we are now getting leaderboards for quick play, which I'm all right with.
Yeah.
Yep.
It will be interesting to see, because at least with the CW leaderboards, the player leaderboard on it seems to be governed predominantly by kill most damage dealt rather than kills overall. So that could shake up some people's preconceptions of where they're ranked for the community. But overall, I'm expecting to see a good number of people in the top 10 that I'm almost certain are going to be there. So it'll be interesting overall to see how these leaderboards reflect actual skill and gameplay.
And I agree. And it adds something a little bit more to quick play as well. Not a whole lot more, but people have been asking for like a leaderboard or a leaderboard type mode, or like a like, I guess, like quote unquote hardcore mode, I guess, would be like whatever, something that you're ranked and actually challenged by other players.
Yeah, it gives players something to take pride in. If you're a veteran player and you've kind of done everything and you've done CW, having the leaderboards there gives you something that you can challenge yourself with. Of, oh, I'm ranked, 114th. I want to see if I can crack into the top 100. What do I have to do to get there? Or I'm ranked 20. How do I get into the top 10? What do I have to overcome to get there? So it's, even for newer players, it's something for them to shoot for and to set goals with. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for impacting the community.
And I mean, it's just one more step until Solaris from there, I guess, as well. Hopefully. And also there's a new catapult hero mech announced.
Yeah, the Butterbee.
Yeah. That is something I was not expecting.
I was expecting it because it got mentioned a while back in one of the town halls. And we talked about it, of how it's a catapult that replaces the standard LRM-15s with a quartet of SRM-6 missile launchers, and yet still has the lasers in the torsos. So it's basically the Splat Cat with energy mounts. We did talk about this. I know we did.
It was probably a while ago though, because it wasn't last podcast, and I don't think it was the podcast before that, like the town hall podcast before that either. So
I will say this, I have seen a couple people making jokes about the name Butterbee and calling it Butterbeer instead, and seeing some, I guess it's Harry Potter fan art with the catapult and something, and a couple other things that are related to Harry Potter with it, mainly on Reddit and a couple of the various other MWO websites. I haven't seen it yet on the main forums, but I don't think it'll take too long, since we do have Kodiak Care Bear Stare. So the cross nerdage is strong with this community.
Don't cross your fandoms, kid. And then we move on to, actually, let's go back to the Hero Mech just for a second before we move on to the July clusterfuck, which is a patch. Basically, I hope that this is the start of maybe going through and seeing some more Hero Mechs for other older mechs as well, or at least some more diverse variants. Like, for example, it would be probably nice to get another... well, actually, even that, hopefully it means that they're going back to mechs that have already been released that perhaps don't have hero mechs, such as like the Panther or the Wolfhound, and give them a hero mech. But even then, also, as much as I do love myself the Enlo Wang, maybe a more diverse, I guess, Centurion hero mech would also be interesting.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, since we have you mentioned Yen Lo Wang, it'd be interesting to see an updated hero version of it, maybe Yen Lo Wang 2, which is, it's the original hero mech being the Justin Allard version, while the 2 being the Kai Allard Liao version. Because if you've read the Blood of Kerensky series, you do know that Yen Lo Wang gets a major upgrade. It ends up getting a Gauss rifle instead of the AC-20, and it gets, I believe it's 2 or 3 medium pulses. It also gets triple strength Myanmar, which could be one of those things that
could be one of those
isn't
special
feasible
quirk
in this game yet. But you could do quirks, or you could substitute mask for it. There's workarounds that you know for it in game, but it'd be something interesting to see if PGI ever makes the effort on that. But yeah, I do agree with you. It'd be nice to see PGI go back and make some more heroes for mechs that are already in game. But at the same time, I don't want them forgetting mechs that don't have heroes. We have many mechs that don't have heroes right now. The King Crab doesn't have one. The Zeus doesn't have one. The Mauler, all of the newer released Inner Spheres don't have them, except for the Reseen, Unseen. Alpha Lance got them because of the way they were released. But there are plenty of mechs in game that have yet to get a hero mech. So while I do want to see maybe a resurgence of heroes for some of the older chassis, I do want to see each mech get its due first.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd much rather see mechs that don't have one currently get a hero mech. Like I was saying, there's still quite a few Inner Sphere mechs that have been out for a little whiles now. I said the Panther, that still don't have a hero mech. Same with like the Enforcer and like that sort of timeline type thing. It would be nice to get them their hero mech finally, and not just keep releasing hero mechs in mech packs.
Yeah, pretty much every Inner Sphere mech, from the King Crab through the 2 Resistance mech packs up to when the Marauder debuted. So we've got the King Crab and the Enforcer, the Panther, the Wolfhound, the Crab, the Black Knight, the Grasshopper, the Zeus, and the Mauler. So that's 9 different mechs right there that all need a hero. Cue the music.
I was waiting for that.
Where's Hefe when you need him? Where? Yeah. Oh, well.
We should just have a sound bite of him. That'd be great. I can just insert it. So let's move on to July. This fun July 19th patch, which got somewhat retconned, but let's talk about what it was beforehand, and then talk about the retcon, and then see where it goes from there. So of course we got the Viper release, which is
Yeah, we've talked about the Viper and our feelings on it.
I must say though, I'm really enjoying the blueprint posts that they keep doing. Yeah. Those are always primo. I always love those. Nice little write-ups and some like background and stuff. Just a little bit more insight into BattleTech lore, because I believe they are all written by Randall Bills. So
yes.
Yep.
Yes, the hero mechs are canon to the main BattleTech universe, according to what Randall Bills at Catalyst Game Labs has said. So
suck it, nerds.
Yeah. So technically, you can use them in tabletop settings.
How horrifying! There's going to be changes to the assault game. Oh, Jesus! There's going to be changes to the assault game mode as well.
Yeah. This one is one I'm kind of iffy about. I like the concept. I'm just not sure how well it's going to work on a number of maps, considering even with the expanded size on, say, making them the size of Caustic Valley, how well that's going to translate for two teams assaulting two different bases.
I'd almost like to see it as a new game mode, kind of like what we have in Community Warfare, is more like an attack and defend mode.
Yeah, I think I'd much rather see it as one base with one team on defending base while the other team assaults.
Or even then, you could turn it kind of into a King of the Hill thing. Like have the base in the middle of a map somewhere, right? And then have a team have to try to take it, and just make the base like hostile to both teams.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, imagine if we're on Polar Highlands and we go do that.
Well, the problem of Polar Highlands is an example, though, of where do you place a base on there that doesn't give a team, a clan team or a clan heavy team an extreme advantage if they're all packing, ER lasers or ER PPCs or Gauss rifles. They can easily sit off and just bombard the base on Polar Highlands, almost straight shot it from across the map if they've got modules on there. So
that's why you put walls around it.
Yeah.
It's I want it, from all the things that they're saying that they want to put on there, destructible walls, and I want to see more concept work of what a base potentially will look like before weighing in too heavily, because it could easily be either a rock that is completely unassailable, or B, a house built on sand that you can easily knock the base, knock it out from underneath really easily just by sitting at range or having a certain build. So, and that would just kill that game mode, or it would just turn the game mode once again into a giant skirmish fight rather than an objective-based game.
Yeah, but also one thing too is that it's not completely skirmish, because in this mode, one team has to win the base. You can't just kill everyone.
Well, we said that though also of domination and conquest, and yet they were later hot fixed to make it so it was much easier to win those matches if you killed off the team prior to actually going after the objective. Mainly because people complain that, it's taking too long. I have to sit here, for 5 minutes while they cap out these 3 points, and finish conquest, or I have to wait here for an entire minute while they finish capping the domination point. It's in the name of efficiency, it kind of took away from the overall aspect of, yes, this is supposed to be an objective-based game mode. So for Assault, if changes are made that are similar, it could have a negative impact on the game mode.
It's true.
They should just take a page out of Mech Commander Gold and just have doors or something like that you have to blow up a tower that's conveniently sitting just outside of the doors, and it opens the doors. There you go. But no, I still think that this mode is interesting in concept, I guess. Or I should say the additions to the mode are interesting in concept. In actual practicality, might be a little bit iffy. Especially like you're saying, if both teams have a base, you're pretty much telling, I guess, kind of it's still going to just come down to a fight in the middle, because no one's going to want to side and have to deal with all that garbage to cap a base. But if one team is defending a base and one team is attacking the base, I think it'd be a little bit better, because you force the conflict more into the base area.
Now, also, I'm sure this here would never happen, but just imagine a stalemate. And I'm saying it as in both teams go out, they both skirmish, and you have like two mechs left on the same team. They're both completely destroyed, and then they can't take the base because the base would take them out. I think it'd be really funny that it would actually possibly make a stalemate.
Well, we have seen in the past when turrets were still up on a couple draw matches where a team was destroyed by, both teams ended up having their last mechs get destroyed by the turrets at almost the same time, and it caused a draw. It was very rare, but in this mode, if the match doesn't automatically end as soon as the other team goes down, yeah, you could easily see the base becoming the MVP of your game, much like how the dropship can sometimes be the MVP of your team for community warfare matches.
Can we have the base be on the, leaderboard? MVP?
That would actually be a very interesting thing now that I think about it, seeing just how, if there is a stat being tracked by PGI to see how many people have been, how many mechs have been destroyed by the dropships.
Yeah, they just go in head on straight and just turrets just tear them up. The dropship tears them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropship pilots get their stripes real easy.
They never miss.
Okay, so
it's like they're robotic or something.
I would say let's skip the next one. Leave that for last. Let's go to multiple drop decks.
Oh, what one are you referring to?
Yeah, I wonder.
We're finally getting our multiple drop decks, which we had talked about from the town hall, and that there will be. You can get more drop decks. You get 2 for free, 2 for invasion and 2 for scouting, and you can purchase more for an amount of MC that is still to be determined. So,
what would be your kind of like, this is too much cost MC amount for an extra drop deck?
1,000.
Yeah.
I could see it being, because it's what, 150 per mech bay, right?
Yeah.
So just times that by what, 4?
Yeah, that'd be 600.
Yeah.
But so, that being said, there are still camo patterns in the store that are
don't even
over 1,000 MC, which PGI, you need to go back in and recalculate some of that because it's absurd.
Even if you just half them, 250 MC and 500 MC for camo or for camo patterns. Yeah. Actually, I think they're 250, I believe. 1250.
That being said, I would not mind them keeping a higher cost on newer patterns such as the faction camos, but the ones that have been around now for about almost the same age of the game, they need to be. You need to discount them. That's a little high for their age.
Just one shot them. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the drop decks, I don't know how many people are going to buy additional drop decks. Most
you really,
serious,
at least in my opinion, at least you only need 2.
Yeah.
Most your main drop deck and your alt.
And most serious faction play, community warfare play guys that I know, they are incredibly efficient on their drop decks. They don't really allow themselves a lot of wiggle room. They pretty much take the same drop deck every time, whether it is attack or defend.
3 thunderbolts and a fire starter.
Yeah, or something to that effect. It's occasionally they switch it up when new mechs become available, but they still are very scientific almost in regards to how they min-max their tonnage usage. So I don't see that, a lot of people spending a ton of MC to get, say 10 drop deck slots. I'd be surprised if players go beyond 5.
Yeah. I could potentially see someone buying a third one, maybe. But really, the way I think of drop decks is kind of like if anyone's played any sort of trading card game. It's like your main drop deck would be your actual deck, and then your second drop deck would be your sideboard that you would just sub into if needed. So you usually don't need more than that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much one for offense, one for defense, and beyond that, maybe a third optional.
Yeah, and a lot of times, depending, like, if you're playing Clan, for example, your offense and defense is probably going to be the same. I could see these being used more for Inner Sphere drop decks. So how about them supply caches?
Yeah.
Or cache, or however supply you want to pronounce it with Canadianisms.
Which is great.
The original posting on it of having it randomly placed on the map and one person being able to get it, and if they were on the winning team, then someone else could also get it. I didn't like that idea because I could easily see a team, rather than playing the objective of the map or playing against the other team, you'd have a number of players too focused on finding the supply cache and getting it, to the point where they actually might fire on each other in order to secure it once we have a better idea of what might actually come in supply caches. The change that Russ announced on his Twitter feed and then put up on the forums regarding supply caches are that they are no longer going to be randomly placed on the map. They will be randomly given out to a player at the end of match,
which is a lot better.
Yeah.
That being said, I would love to see them randomly placed, perhaps, or even as like a secondary objective, perhaps, in Community Warfare.
Maybe.
I mean, I think in that way, it would still be people just trying to do the hunt, and it would just prolong the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe not even make it like... Because with Community Warfare, 9 times out of 10, you got a straight objective. Just go, hit them hard, do the objective. Now, what I'm suggesting is, like, maybe not have it at a random place, but maybe have it in two separate places. Like, have 2 different spots where it could appear, I guess.
So pretty much a predetermined, like, it could be here.
Or it could be here type of thing, and it becomes like a secondary objective.
Or maybe even have it there and give it some sort of defense. You have to, like, go ahead and break down the barrier or something like that.
Yeah. I think that just it opens up a can of worms that we don't want to delve into. I'm thinking better to just keep it as a random selection at end of match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for public play, that is the best.
Even for Community Warfare faction play, I don't think you want to be throwing extra elements onto a map.
I want my complexity.
It'd be fun, but I think for a pug team, especially for those people who don't listen in the first place or don't really use VoIP, that would just cause a lot of like havoc in the game for CW.
Which is why my feelings about it is still mixed. By the way, how you guys doing?
Hey, Blake.
So, I do like the idea of being able to inspect the supply cache before actually spending the MC to unlock it.
I guess my thing is, do we know how much detail they're going to go ahead and give for these crates?
Well, in a lot of ways, I'm comparing it to the supply crates that you can get in Team Fortress 2.
How I make my money in CSGO.
Yeah. You have even there, you have a rough idea of what every crate possibly has in it, and what your chances are of getting that item when you open the crate. And anything that you don't get in the crate is, of course, discarded, which seems to be what the supply cache will do as well. So I'm thinking that it's pretty much the same model as what Valve is already doing in Team Fortress and in CS:GO and what's being
and
done.
Dota.
Yeah. As Russ did point out that this is something that has been used in a number of other games and it's widely popular. That said, I think a lot of it's widely popular because the supply crates or caches or loot crates or whatever you want to call them often have items in them that are not easily obtained in game.
Yeah, and also, and I'm kind of curious too, is that I'm wondering is that let's say you get one, you don't have the money to get a key, and you don't want to just plain out sell it. I'm wondering if you can like trade it or anything like that.
I don't think so. Though, I mean, a lot of other games do have it set like that. Well, I mean, it's easy with Steam because with Steam you got your alternative inventory, I guess is the word where I would use for
Steam inventory.
Yeah, where all that stuff goes and where you can sell stuff and make a bunch of money like I do. But with this, unless they utilize this, well, which they won't, because then half the player base is going to miss out on it. I don't think you'd be able to see a trade or a market system open up. My only concern or hope, as far as like, as we're saying, either buy the key or sell it, would be I hope they don't adjust C-bills for this for just regular players, and that this will act as kind of like a bonus in C-bills.
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
these supply crates.
These crates?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they just release that?
Not yet. It's planned for, is it June? July?
July.
There we go.
I always think reward stuff like that's very touchy, a very touchy idea, because it can get out of control kind of quick when you open those gates. With just how off, like financially, how you can really unstabilize the game by that. So I'm interested to see how they do that then.
Well, I think it's tempting that, like let's say, by random you play for like a weekend and you have 5 crates, do you pay for the key and then, granted the game is free to play, so in a sense this is a good way to make the money, and that kind of thing.
I agree. I definitely do think that they need to start pushing for other ways of, besides just the standard, buy this mech, get these rewards, buy this, that, get this reward. And I think they need to start expanding it. Yeah, definitely something like that. Really where they can diversify the way they make money. Because it's going to fizzle out if they don't start reaching out to a lot more people. I think that's a pretty cool idea. Alright guys, I'm sorry I just totally randomly clicked this server. Thought it was cool. This guy's name said recording.
Random cameos.
Oh yeah. Who was that again?
No idea.
I think it was Ironhide was his name.
I think so.
Well,
2000.
thank you, Ironhide, for stopping in and giving your opinion.
And not giving a name.
And yeah, and a reminder to Cattra that maybe you should lock the channel when you start recording.
Well, I guess props to him for saying that. Cattra is a cool guy.
Yeah, but
he's recording.
But yes, so the old system, I agree, was totally bonkers with it. And I mean, the supply cache, a lot of games are doing this now. A lot of games are doing this. I mean, I just finished playing over a period of 3 days, 26 hours of Overwatch. And that even has it in it. I mean, mind you, you don't have to buy keys to unlock stuff, or at least yet. Or at least not in the beta. They didn't have keys needed to unlock it. You got them every time you leveled up and you opened them, you get specialty stuff. Yeah. But it is the way that the market is moving, and it is shifting, at least in the free to play.
Yeah, it is.
I think the big problem that people are leery of, both in this case and in every case where supply crates or loot caches or whatever they are termed come up, is they get labeled as microtransactions. And
What, it's really gambling?
It
well,
is.
no, it's that microtransactions have a very negative connotation in gaming because they've often been utilized improperly, at least from a community standpoint. In many games, they aren't. Team Fortress is a very good example. Uh, Dota, a number of games that are somewhat free to play use them properly. It's mainly in games where you actually had to pay money that suddenly microtransactions being implemented make people really lose their cool.
Like Battlefield Hardline?
Yeah, or Payday 2, or
oh Jesus.
Yeah. So here I'm not so worried about it, and I think people need to tone down a little bit on it, especially considering they've already changed it so that it's not going to be randomly placed on the field. It's just going to be randomly assigned at the end of the match. So it could have a major impact on how the game is played and how the community views the game, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't see them throwing in extravagant things in the cache. I'm expecting the usual kind of weekend rewards, such as the consumable C-Bill pack that has a UAV and a cool shot and an airstrike and an arty strike, maybe some extra GXP or extra C-Bills, or maybe a little extra MC here and there, or a cockpit item, small cosmetic things. I don't know if they would throw one-shot camouflages in there, because how do you determine what mech gets that one-shot camo then?
You could probably see them throwing in mech unlock camos, though.
Yeah,
That'd
possibly.
be nice. Yeah, but I think that with the way they're going, it's not going to be a big deal. It seems like that these caches will not flood your, basically your stash of items. So mainly for one weekend, you're not going to have 100 of these. I know before playing Mech Warrior, I used to play a lot of Star Trek Online. And again, another free-to-play game, and they would do the same kind of thing, but they would flood your inbox with these cache crates, and it was like, yep, you have them all, you can sell them, or you have the temptation to pay a lot of money. And just so that they don't go ahead and flood the market with these, I think it will do fine.
My only concern, though, is how much a key is going to cost.
That too.
In MC. I mean, I'm probably going to open one or two because I just have a bunch of MC sitting on my account that I'm doing nothing with, just to kind of see, like, whatever. Or I might make one of those videos that you see, like, unboxing 100 of them or something like that. Why not?
If keys cost like anywhere from, say, maybe 25 to 50 MC, I don't think there will be a huge outcry over it.
I'd say even 150 to 200.
I could
MC.
see them doing that right there. Yeah, I think 25, 50 is too low. I think they're gonna want to do like 150, 200, maybe even 250.
Well,
I could see 250 easily.
I don't know, because if you make the cost of opening a loot crate the same as, say, buying a camouflage, a permanent camo scheme, or even MC consumable, you're on a slippery slope of where people are going to say, there's no value for it. So you've got to price it somewhat lower, I would say, especially considering it's a random chance that you're not guaranteed to get something out of a crate.
And that's getting my gambling itch right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if it's like something like $2, because I think it's what, 180 MC equals $1 US or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So like, even if they make it like roughly the equivalent of like $2, which I would say is probably the bigger 250 mark, I would still say it would be fine. Because even if you buy the $7 lowest pack, that means you could open, I think, 5 crates for $7, which isn't that bad in terms of like other games. Because I think in like, for example, unless you're getting into super expensive items in Dota, to open a crate is like between like $3 to $5. In Team Fortress 2, unless you're a big person on the market, keys usually run about $2 to $2.50.
Mm-hmm.
So, and finally, our last announcement, which wasn't actually in the roadmap but just came out today, is tickets are going up for sale for MechCon 2016. I believe they go up for sale tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it looks great.
And they're going to be $60 Canadian, roughly $47 US.
47 cents US, sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's because the Canadian dollar's in the toilet right now. Love the global money market, isn't that great? But yeah, so if you're at all interested in attending MechCon 2016 in Vancouver, British Columbia, you best get your ticket early because I am suspecting that these tickets will go pretty quickly. And I don't know if there's a hard limit on how many tickets they actually have. They don't have anything up, but I thought they had mentioned
they said it was like
a
1,000 hard cap, I believe, or something like that.
That's very small.
Yeah, so and considering how quickly the few tickets that were up for sale for the Steam launch event went, if you are at all interested in going to MechCon, you probably want to get on this as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that is on what I believe December 3rd.
Yes, it'll be December 3rd.
I just want to bring up one thing with because this is going to be the big topic. If we don't beat it to death, people will yell at us for skipping over the facts. But would you support, just hypothetically speaking, a dual supply cache system where you could buy a key for C bills as well? Say it's like something like 2.5 to 3 million a key. And there'd be some lower tier stuff that you could perhaps get. But if you buy with MC, there's some... So I guess you see the list of stuff that you could get out of the crate, right? Let me see if I can just set this up properly so you guys can imagine it. So there's the list of stuff, right? If you buy a key for MC, perhaps the lower half, like some of the, like, quote-unquote, I guess, like, garbage tier stuff, just you won't get it. It's like guaranteed not to get it, so you're only guaranteed like the upper half. Whereas if you bought it with C bills, you could have something in the whole range. Would that be something that makes it a little bit better or worse?
I think it's going to depend entirely on what actually gets included in the caches. Without having any idea as to what is going to be actually available in them, it's really hard to say one way or the other.
Yeah, and I guess my thought on that is that I think how they might do it is that if you use, let's say, C bills to purchase this cache, that they might allow you to get anything in the crate, be it the crap tier or the better tier. You might be able to get it with C bills, but it might be a lower percentage for the good stuff and a higher percentage for the not so good stuff.
Yeah, that'd be the ideal.
Yeah, but then I think if you use MC, they would maybe still offer the both bad and the good stuff, but just put a higher percentage on the good. I could see that happening.
But as of right now, it's only MC. And I guess the other thing I want to bring up as well is what would be your guys' thoughts on, say, like, crate exclusive stuff. So if they say, with the release of the supply crates, they bring out, like, I don't know, two new faction, or not faction camos, but like 2 new camos, and like, I don't know, a couple new like cockpit items exclusive to crates. Would that be an alright thing or not? And that's where it really kind of sits, because if, like, me, I'd be perfectly fine with that. It would give some incentive to buy crates. But I don't know how other people would feel about some content being kind of locked out unless you are going full gamble mode.
I'm fine with that.
I don't know. I'm not really interested in crates. I pretty much I'm probably not going to spend MC either way on crates. Even if they did have an exclusive item, I'm not that big into cockpit items
or decals. Let's say it goes to the decal system, and it like you can get them in crates and stuff like that as well.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, only because of the fact that this game is free to play, and PGI is a company, and they do have to pay their employees something
and shareholders.
Exactly, that too, so they can eat and pay for whatever they need to. So I'm fine with that, or also the idea that, let's say that they have that there's a special only item for a crate and it's for like only a few months. Something like that for a higher incentive, I'm fine with.
I think overall, the updated version of the supply crates is by far the better version.
Yes, much better.
Than what they were saying beforehand. I don't think a lot of people had... Okay, I know some people obviously had opinions on supply crates in general, because I made... I kind of hang out there, but I made the trek, as always, to MechWarrior Online General over on 4chan to see what they were saying. Jesus. The fan art there is always really good.
Didn't know we had one.
I have scum and villainy.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking about me here. I mean, Team Roomba #1. Let's. I think a lot of the complaints were with how the supply caches were going to be implemented on the map and not just given out to like the team randomly. I mean, of course, people are going to complain that, oh, you're bringing just loot boxes to a game to suck money out. But I mean, that's again how the market is trending. A lot of games have started implementing this recently, and this is how you're probably going to see free to play kind of transition into now. And it also depends on how, like, a lot of people were joking like, oh, I got 5 small lasers from the supply cache. I really hope that garbage does not actually get in there. If I'm dropping, like, again, we don't know what the cost is in MC, something I would actually like to know before too long, but like, if I'm dropping 250 to 300 MC on each case, I would at least hope to get like a week premium time, or a bunch of C bills, or like that 0.001% chance to get a hero mech, like that sort of stuff. Not just like, you got 3 Gauss rifles, congratulations. It's just like, oh.
And just sell off. But also, one other thing that we hadn't really touched on yet is that this term that the cache will be given randomly. I mean, do we know what they mean by randomly?
I assume the winning team would probably get one that it just says like player. Like, for example, when you play CSGO at the end of round, there's like a small, or like even like with Team Fortress 2, at the end of the round, there's a small, very small percentile, or I should say very small, a percentile chance that you'd get one at the end of the game. And that, I assume that's what they're doing here. I can't say anything more than that because I don't know more than that. But I assume that's kind of like what they're doing, just like at the end of round screen or whatever. Just, it might give like a small indication that someone on the team got a crate, and that'd be it.
Yeah, it's something that we're just gonna have to wait for more details on in order to figure out exactly how it's going to be actually implemented and what your chances are of actually getting one for how many matches you play.
Right.
But yeah, I think a way to make, I guess this would be my ending thoughts, a way to incentivize and make supply crates fun would be three things. One, don't put junk shit in there. Don't put flamers, don't put small lasers, that sort of stuff. to have some sort of like exclusive content, like I was saying there, like throw like a pattern or two that's exclusive to the crates in there, or like a cockpit item that's exclusive to crates, or when the decal system comes out, throw a decal or decal or whatever the fuck it said. Throw one of those in there, or a couple of them, like 2 or something like that are exclusive to crates, so people will want to open them. And it'll be fun. It'll be like that sort of thing. And the third one is just don't crank the price up on it, please. Make them accessible. Would be the other thing. And if you have all 3 of those things, I think the supply crates would be fine. I think it would be the incentive would be there for the exclusive content for the people that wanted it. That people will open crates, trying to hopefully get that stuff, but also not get burnt bad enough where they're going to not buy crates. Because that's the other thing. When I was playing CSGO, and only until recently, if I only opened like a couple crates because I just kept getting burned on each one, and it just not became fun. I'd rather take my guns, sell them, get real life money, and then buy a gun that way for CSGO. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't throw the junk shit in the kit crates. Give like stuff of, I guess, somewhat equal value, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit better, but like I was saying, like a week premium time is pretty solid if you earn that out of the crate, or like 2 to 5 million C-bills, like that sort of stuff I think would be great for a person if they open a crate, and that way they're not getting burnt bad enough where they don't want to spend more money. You would need something there, like I said, they want to hunt for the higher tier stuff, but they're not getting burnt bad enough on the lower tier stuff where they don't have interest in buying crates anymore.
I agree.
So I guess that would be my TLDR summary of the crates as of now, and until we learn more. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's any more info that we need to discuss with MWO. I don't think there's any new news aside from some Kodiak lore. I think George Ledoux recently did the voiceover of the Kodiak lore by Randall Bills. So if people should check that out.
Yep.
Well, unless we have anything else, I think it's time we should wrap up.
Yes, we should.
Sounds good.
All right, so thank you everybody for showing up for the Armored Combat Escalation Service Junkyard Podcast, episode 41. Until, I think, probably next week? When's the patch? Like the 16th,
Tuesday.
Right? Yeah, so we will definitely have an episode next week, for sure. And I want to extend a thank you to Tierkron, Larsh, and Blake Malone for showing up this week and contributing. And of course, our random cameo person as well. Thank you for showing up as well. And until next time, Tech Warriors.